morning, beautiful people. It is happy Tuesday. I was supposed to have Mercy Quaye in the studio with me. That's why we were running late, because we were under the impression that we was waiting for her, but she's not here yet. So I don't know if she's gonna come or make it. But tonight, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated is screening the film "Say Her Name," the Sandra Bland HBO documentary viewing tonight at the Quinnipiac Buckman Theater in Hamden. And I don't know if it's sold out. It might be sold out, but you can get tickets, and go. So it's in honor of Women's History Month, and the Iota Chi Sigma and Sigma Beta chapters of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Inc. Is screening the viewing of HBO's documentary "Say Her Name," the life and death of Sandra Bland, tonight at 5:30. So the film starts at 6 o'clock. So let me tell you a little something about Sandra Bland if you don't know. Sandra Bland was a 28-year-old African-American woman who was found hanged in a jail cell in Waller County, Texas on July 13th, 2015, 3 days after being arrested during a traffic stop. Her death was ruled a suicide. It was followed by protests against her arrest, disputing the cause of death and alleging racial violence against her. Bland was pulled over for a traffic violation on July 10th by State Trooper Brian Encina. The exchange escalated, resulting in Bland's arrest and charge for assaulting a police officer. The arrest was partially recorded by Encina's dash cam and by a bystander's cell phone. After authorities reviewed the dash cam footage, Encina was placed on administrative leave for failing to follow proper traffic stop procedures. Texas authorities and the FBI conducted an investigation into Bland's death and determined the Waller County Jail did not follow required policies, including time checks on inmates and ensuring that employees had completed required mental health training. In December 2015, a grand jury declined to indict the county sheriff and jail staff for a felony relating to Bland's death. In January 26, Encina was indicted for perjury for making false statements about the circumstances surrounding Bland's arrest and was subsequently fired by the Texas Department of Public Safety. In September 2016, Bland's mother settled a wrongful death lawsuit against the county jail and police department for $1.9 million and some procedural changes. In June 2017, the perjury charge against Encina was dropped in return for his agreement to permanently end his law enforcement career. And so there is a documentary about her and this story. We all saw the footage, the video footage. Thank God for social media, because I think white folks just had no clue of all these things. Well, the white folks who was committing these things had a clue, but everyday, ordinary white folks going about their business never believed the stories that we as people of color would tell about what was happening to us at the hands of law enforcement. And so social media, dash cams, and all these cell phones and all these kinds of things have brought this issue front and center, has brought it right into people's screens so you could see what was happening. And time again, we'd see these incidences of law enforcement going crazy, just killing us with abandon. So there's this documentary, and it's only fitting that it be screened during Women's History Month. This is an important film, and so I hope people can get to see it. It is heartbreaking, and I'm grateful to the Sisters of Sigma Gamma Rho Incorporated for keeping this in the forefront of our minds, and I'm grateful. So Mercy Quaye, who is a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, was scheduled to be here this morning to talk about why they are screening this film, the significance of this film, who Sandra Bland was, and all of that. So yes. So, if you get a chance to see it on HBO, do see it. If you don't want to go to the fundraiser tonight or the screening of it tonight, see it at your leisure on HBO. If you have HBO, see it. And then have a conversation with your team, with your circle of friends about what is happening to Black women in this country, all over this country. Black women are being harmed. There's 64, almost 65,000 missing Black women and girls in this country at this moment. 65,000 missing Black girls and women. Black girls, Black women. 65,000 who are missing, like gone, like we don't know where they are, like no one has seen them. And so when I tell you that Black women are under siege, that's not false. That's not made up. That's not hyperbole. That is some real ish. That is real. And yeah. Yes. So say her name tonight at the Quinnipiac Theater in Hamden. It's a fundraiser. They have a Facebook invitation up. I don't know if they're sold out, but you certainly can go to Facebook and look up, and you can just put Sandra Bland's film screening, and it'll come up. You'll see it. That's what I did. I mean, I follow them on Facebook anyway, but you could see it. So, yes. So anyway, let me wish my Sora Shanette Wiley happy birthday. I don't know if she listens to this show, but happy birthday. And if the Soras I know listen, tell her that Babz said happy birthday. Happy birthday, girl. Happy birthday. You know, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Celebrate it. I love birthdays. Mine's is coming. I'm excited. So, here's Mercy Quaye. Is this Mercy Quaye? Hello, come in. I've been talking about this.
Have you?
Yes, girl. I can't wait for you.
Listen, there's only one thing that anyone can be sure about of anything I do in life, and it's being late. It is being late. You could count on me to be late. Just tell me a time that's a half hour before the time you need me to be there.
Well, wait. So I'm sitting here, and it's like 7 after. I said, Harry, are we starting the show? Harry's like, I thought you was waiting for your guest. I was like, Harry, we're not gonna wait for people. We just gonna start. We're gonna pull the train out the station, and if they jump on.
Well, it's really interesting because part of the reason I'm late is because I was getting ready for tonight. I'm getting ready for tonight. And so, on the way out, I'm leaving the house. I'm like, all right, do I got enough time to go get these cucumbers? Counting in my head, figuring, yeah, I got enough time. I'm going to go run and get these cucumbers. And then someone had the nerve to get in a car accident on my way here. So they're fine. The accident seemed to be pretty minor, but it did back up traffic a little bit. So the cucumbers. It's the cucumbers. If you are ever on your way into somewhere and you trying to figure out if you got time to get cucumbers, don't get the cucumbers.
Don't get the cucumbers.
How you doing, Babz?
How are you, Mercy
I'm
Quaye?
good. I am good.
Looking fabulous. So I did a little background on Sandra Bland.
Okay.
I talked about she was a 28-year-old woman and what had happened. Mm-hmm. And she is a member of Sigma Gamma Rho.
She is a member of Sigma Gamma Rho. Sorority Incorporated. Yep. Mm-hmm. So is her sister.
Oh, her sister too?
And so is her mother. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, legacy.
Yeah.
so it's only fitting that you all would take this on.
Right. That's absolutely right. Actually, in the wake of the Sandra Bland incident, the sorority actually stepped up in a number of ways. And one of those ways was in response to sort of the uproar from sorors throughout the country. The sorority officially established a social action committee. Mm-hmm. Right. And so each chapter in each region and each area has now a mandate to come up with a social justice and social action committee. I am one of the 2 co-chairs in that committee for our chapter here in New Haven, serving the greater New Haven area. Mm-hmm. And so understanding sort of the partnership that international headquarters had sort of forged with the family and HBO to show the documentary, I was just like, well, how can we bring this to New Haven in a way that can be impactful? Because I love a movie showing, right? People might remember from last year, around the same time, actually, when we were showing, we did the huge movie showing of Black Panther.
Yes.
Right. So,
which was so fun.
It was a good time. We had a purple carpet.
We were all dressed up.
Yes. So I love to bring people together around,
Well, this is a different kind of
topic,
right?
Is.
Like this is,
for me, the biggest piece was it's in the same vein in that Black people get to come together, and whether it is for celebratory reasons, which was Black Panther, or whether it's for discussion and deep contemplation and thought. For me, it's real important to ensure that like the community is able to get together and have these conversations. And so, we, knowing again the partnership that the sorority have forged with HBO and the family, we were like, okay, let's come together. Let's host this event, but not in a small way. If we're going to do this, how are we going to do it most authentically to sort of honor what Sandra Bland's legacy means, right? And so we were like, well, we need to get the family involved. It wouldn't be an authentic representation of what we believe and what, the legacy of Soror Bland was if we didn't get the family involved. And so we reached out to Sharon Cooper, who is Sandra Bland's sister, and she was just like, I'd love to be a part of this.
Is she going to be here?
She's going to be here tonight.
Oh, no, really?
Yes.
Oh, God, that's heavy.
Yes, it is.
I'm not going to make it because it's too much for my spirit.
Yeah,
it was a lot when I was experiencing it when it was happening.
Yeah.
And I have not processed it. And I don't know if I want to process it in a group setting.
It's hard. And, we were on a call last Tuesday or last week sometime with Soror Cooper and all the panelists, Paul Bass, who's moderating the event, Kamel Scott Mujahid, who is the co-founder and co-director of CT Core.
Yes.
Dan Barrett, who's the legal director of ACLU, and Addis Castillo, who is the executive director over at Citywide Youth Coalition, along with Soror Cooper, right? And even in that phone call, we were just prepping. We were just preparing, right? Laying out logistics kind of thing. Even in that phone call, it was a really moving conversation.
Yeah.
Heavy.
It's heavy. And I normally don't shy away from heavy things, but on top of knowing that there are about 65,000 Black girls and Black women missing, on top of these instances of police misconduct toward us over and over and over again, I'm still angry and a bit bitter about all of this.
Yeah, and it's hard. And I don't expect everyone to be able to, well, what I do expect, people need to be able to protect their energy at all costs, right? I think the way you process is something that only you can know. And if something is too heavy for you, then, make that conscious decision. And I support that. I absolutely support that.
I support this. I'm talking about it. You hear, we ran it in the inner city. I mean, listen, I get it.
Yeah.
And it is necessary conversation. It is necessary dialogue.
It's also Women's Month.
And it's Women's Month.
Right.
And we can't just be celebrating women.
Right.
We have got to talk about
the issues that impact
things.
women.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is a real thing. Like, this sister did not have to die.
At all. And, I look back to, the first videos that came out of her traffic stop. I just look at those first videos. She didn't do anything that I wouldn't have done. Right. And I mean, an officer pulls up behind you, you move out the way. Right?
Yes.
You just move out the way.
Because you're thinking they on their way to some
They can't
crime.
be stopping me. I haven't done anything. Let me just move out the way. Then somehow my moving out the way becomes the crime.
Yeah.
Right? Because I didn't turn on my blinkers. And that's effectively what the police ended up saying. You didn't turn your own blinkers. That's what justified the cause. Okay. That was the cause that justified the stop. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't turn on my blinkers. Then every single thing she did within that video for me, I'm watching, I'm like, I would do everything in this exact order. In this exact order. There is nothing. And I think what that tells us is how normal, right? How much normal behavior on behalf of, people of color, specifically Black women, can be escalated to a degree that feels irrevocable, right?
Yes.
You can't get back from it. And it's just normal behavior.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so it's like, how do I for lack of a better verb, but how do I police my normal behavior?
Because we are not runaway slaves.
We're not.
I don't have to address you. I can have this elevated tone.
Mm-hmm.
It is not against the law.
Right.
You are not my master.
Right.
Listen.
Right. I don't have to, and the reality is, I don't have to say sir. I don't have to say, right, like,
Hell no.
I don't have to address you that way.
I don't.
And I should be able to, in the moment, dissent with your reason for pulling me over in the first place. I should be able to disagree with you.
Yes.
Right? And she was still cooperative. She was just trying to figure out what was going on in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? And so for me, I think that was so telling. And then at this present moment, so I'm 28 right now, right?
Oh.
And so, and don't do this to me, back.
Girl. Listen.
And it feels.
The grace is, I believe that you are here in New Haven where we don't have a history of that kind of behavior.
Well, I am excited to examine that tonight. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to examine that tonight. On our call last week, we talked about a young woman where similar circumstances did happen here. And we'll talk a little bit more about that tonight, but I'm really excited that the New Haven Police Department actually has agreed to participate, and they're sending over Captain Anthony Duff, who's representing the New Haven Police Department.
Okay.
But in addition to that, I wanted to reach out across the state because one of the biggest things that Dan Barrett of the ACLU had mentioned was it is not without specific intention that we do not have numbers, right? Do not have the knowledge of what is going on that is similar to the Sandra Bland situation here in Connecticut. It is not without intention.
Wow.
Right? And design. Right? There is zero way for us there's no system or of record keeping that creates sort of this like interpool of knowledge.
Well, I will tell you this. Mm-hmm. We, in our community, when I say our community, I mean Black folks, we know.
Oh, we know?
We know. East Haven is suspect.
Ooh,
Hamden on that New Haven borderline is suspect. Girl.
East Haven has been suspect for as long as I've been knowing.
Ever since they chased Malik Jones into New Haven and shot him, right?
Shot him.
They did that.
Yep.
So,
and it's just such a weird thing for me to kind of sit back and sit with, because we do sometimes get this like sense of complacence where we're like, well, this doesn't happen here. But no, it does.
You know what? I guess that's complacent. I like to think that I guess it's a false sense of
security.
Security.
Mm-hmm.
It's a false sense of security because.
And that's not without
all
design.
All the other foolishness that I got to deal with by virtue of the color of my skin.
Right.
I don't want to have to think about, but I am nervous when cops roll up on me.
Ooh.
And I was a police commissioner, and I'm still nervous when cops are behind me or if I get pulled over. I don't like it. It's an uneasiness that just only happened since this Sandra Bland thing.
And I would say it's definitely a new thing for me. It is new. I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing when I heard about the Sandra Bland situation, right? I'm driving out to Montana, right? Jesse and I are in a vehicle driving out to Montana, and I'm thinking...
You're very white.
Yes.
Husband.
my husband, I love you,
like
babe,
you can't get whiter than him.
Is a white man. And
like he's Irish, right?
He's not. He's Scandinavian.
Scandinavian.
One up. But he is from, I like to say he's from Wyoming, where they make and manufacture white people. The earlier models of white people and the current models of white people. That's where they make them. And so we're driving out to go visit his family. This is the first time I'm interacting with his family.
Oh. Do they know you Black?
At the time, they did. I mean, I'm not Sidney Poitier. This was
because I was like, guess who's coming?
The internet existed, and so I'm sure and I'm also not a silent person when it comes to these issues, right? I am not. I am an acquired taste of sorts, and so
Mercy Quaye ain't for everybody.
I just ain't for everybody.
She ain't for everybody.
and so we're driving out, and I'm like, ooh, babe. So we are, because if this was my family, like, are we gonna talk about this? Are we gonna like address the elephant in the room. And this is when I sort of got a full awareness of how I live in a bubble where the things that matter to me, I expect and assume that everyone, and rightfully so, everyone around me is thinking about the same thing, right? That is when I realized that I lived in a bubble, because when I said, are we going to address the elephant in the room? He said, there's actually not going to be an elephant in the room with regard to this, right? Because, and that's when I realized they don't know about it, right? This is the only thing I can think about. This is, news had just dropped. This is the only thing I can think about. And they didn't know about it. And I was just like, okay. Now for me, that framed my thinking of how to interact with people from across the aisle, because there's always an assumption that you are as well versed and well read on a topic as I am, and sometimes that's not what it's about. Like, that's not
girl,
what the
I
case
learned
is.
that lesson a long time ago.
I learned that lesson July of 2015. Like,
if they don't know, I'm not bringing it to. This is where I'm at now, Mercy. If they don't know, I'm not bringing it.
Yeah. So
swear to God, at 55, if you don't know, I'm not.
It's not my responsibility.
Serving you.
Exactly. Yeah. No, and that's real. And that's real. And I think that's why there needs to be. All right, I am under no obligation as a Black person, especially a Black woman, to usher people to their racial salvation. I am under no obligation to usher people to their racial salvation.
I'm not doing it.
I can't do it.
And I've done it. I used to, when I was young, girl, I used to think, if we just all get in the room and if we all get the same message,
but
and we see
undergoing that amount of trauma for me, every time I have a conversation like that where it's like, well, what do you think about this? And I give you an answer, but then it's like, what do you think about this? Before you even had time to sit and that's traumatic for me.
Yeah.
And so no one should be expected to engage in these conversations alone. That's actually why panels like this that we're having tonight are imperative, because people, I encourage white people who are interested in undoing the racism that they've incurred just by pure virtue of being white in America. If there are any white people like that out there that are interested in taking the next step, come to a panel like this.
Yes,
right.
And there are white people that listen to me.
Exactly. Yeah.
So y'all out there on the shore, and y'all out there in Madison,
we invite you,
because I know folks in Madison are listening to me. Shout out to Mike. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Come on into Hampton and go over to Quinnipiac and catch this if you inclined.
Right, because the people of color around you get very tired of being your Black encyclopedia.
I'm not your Negro.
Right.
James Baldwin.
James
Baldwin is so righteous right now. Like, he just like speaks for me. I was like, first of all, I tell people, I don't have these conversations with white people anymore. I don't.
It's just so taxing. It's emotionally taxing.
And don't bring me all your, I don't know any other Black people, so I got you here, Babz. I'm a everything I ever wanted to ask or say.
You ain't got me here.
Nope.
And it's like, I can't. The next step for white people who are interested in learning how to undo their racism is to not try to hold the few Black people around them hostage, right? As much as I would love to hold your hand on this metaphorical Underground Railroad journey towards your salvation, I can't do it.
And I know some white folks who get it. Right. I know white folks who are in it and struggle and wrestle and gladly do it because they know it's necessary.
Right. And Jesse is an example of that, right? Jesse is such an example of that because, again, from born and bred in Wyoming, right? Came out here to go to college and set out on an endeavor to learn about not just like my culture as a Black person, a Black American, but other cultures, right? Just set out on that journey for understanding. And it wasn't easy. It was not easy because when you're sort of undoing unlearning the things you've learned growing up in some place that is so as homogeneous as you like that, I'm very diplomatic, as Wyoming, then I think it takes, that extra step in order to kind of go out and say, all right, well, this is actually a thought that language that he's given me. He says, my first thought is a racist thought.
That's what he said?
He said this. He was
Mine
like,
too.
My first thought is a racist thought. The way that you get to, and he doesn't think white people can be woke. He says white people are on a perpetual journey of waking. He said the way that you stay on that journey is to consciously have a second thought. right? And your second thought is going to be your educated thought, the thought that you've worked on cultivating. But your natural, organic first thought as a white person born and bred in America is always going to be a racist thought. And that is what anti-racist work is going to look like for white people, consciously combating that first thought.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Because that, you know what? I think that's a gift that they get to have, that they can undo this by thinking that second thought.
Yeah.
That's a real gift.
It is. And it's
if they take it, it would help them. But all of them are not going to take it. Because they just think we are they think everybody except them are the reason for whatever ails them.
Ooh. I have a column coming out soon that's going to capture that, but I will not speak on it much more.
Okay.
I'm excited for y'all to hear it, though. But yeah, no, I'm almost, tonight is going to be, I was just talking to, last week or 2 weeks ago, you were talking to our chapter president, Frida.
I enjoyed her so much.
I love Frida. I love Frida.
Oh my God.
Soror Grant, if you listening.
I'm sure she is. If she ain't, we're going to send it to her.
Right.
I enjoyed her. I really would love to have a bigger conversation with her about a lot. You too. You know, about a lot of these things that are challenging to sisters.
Yeah, and so she does some phenomenal work. And she and I was talking to her this morning. And she was just like, you know what we're gonna need? We're gonna need a very clear and descriptive trigger warning before starting today's documentary, right? Like going up to the podium, being very clear with everyone. This is a heavy film. We have a classroom across the way if you need a break to, some respite from the hour and 45-minute experience of trauma. Go across the way, take a sip of water, recoup and come back.
I'm gonna need some tequila.
Yeah. That's for the after reception. Recoup and come back, because we understand the gravity of this is going to weigh on people differently.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen that, if you have not seen the actual traffic stop in a good while, it's going to jar. It's gonna jar you, right? It's gonna because you're gonna be like the whole time, oh, what is happening? Like,
not quite sure what she's done here, right? Like, how did they escalate from this to that? Right. And
what are we not seeing? What are we not seeing?
And what's more, for me, what I try to do, and I have adopted this language when I talk to people about race relations. I've adopted the language when I'm trying to understand people. I go, I'm trying very hard to understand your perspective. Might you be able to insert more clarification here, right? But when it comes from like the perspective of that police officer, and I speak to police officers who are, that seems like a clean stop. I'm like, I'm trying very hard to understand your perspective on this.
So put your wife in that situation, right? Or your daughter, or your mother,
because and
not that you should have to do that, but let's bring it home for you.
Right. How can I humanize, right, the person who experienced this in your eyes? How can I, right, create allow you to sort of understand the violation of the humanity that was that she brought to the right, that she has. She's a human. And we know that the experience that Black women have with, and I'll just be very clear, with white men, right, it is an experience where often in policy and often in treatment, Black women are treated as, right, their like gender peers. And I think about how that translates in everyday life. I was in New York a couple weeks ago at a 90s party. Right. And I'm walking with a white woman towards the front of the stage. Right. And this other white woman rips off a piece of this the woman that I was with attire, rips it off. Right. And I'm just like, whoa, what's going on? There's about to be an altercation. Now, her husband pushes her out the way and steps to me and sort of sets up, like balls up his fists and like sets up on me. Right. And so I'm looking at him like, what are you? 6'2" right? And I'm trying to internalize this in a way like, have I missed something? I mean, in the words of Sojourner, or I'm about to quote Sojourner Truth, I'm pretty sure, am I not a woman? Right? Mm-hmm. Like, do you think that we are equal in mass and in structure and stature? Do you think that we are equal enough that you can set up on me? Right?
Wow.
And and so I think about the interactions between Black women and men, and how when we place sort of not just the oh gosh, I always have trouble with this word, dehumanifying. That means dehumid.
Well, yes, we are quite humid, yes.
But like when
dehumanizing.
Good Lord, I'm a journalist. Good Lord.
Listen, we all have words that trip us.
Up.
Oh, girl, let me tell you.
Writing environment, it trips me up every single time. It's the I before the R. I don't know. But when we think about how the relationship between Black women and men in general, right? Not just Black men, but Black women and men in general, and how there is a dehumanizing behavior,
yes,
right? And then when you take that lens and place that over the interaction between Sandra Bland and the officer, I cannot help but feel personally attacked, because that is the life that I live. That is the experience that I live through in this world.
Yeah. And I don't know where we tell that story.
Right.
Like, that's not played out in any television show. Like, you never sort of, you don't see it.
Right. I think there's no real spectrum for the portrayal of Black women on TV. There's not a spectrum. There is polarizing images. Yeah. That's it. You are either Claire Huxtable or you're Cookie from Empire, right? Like, there's no, right. You're either Viola Davis. I'm sorry. You're either Annalise Keating, or you're no Poussey on Orange Is the New Black. There's no real spectrum.
There's no spectrum. And I don't see myself at all.
At all.
I don't see me.
Right.
There's no me on television
at all. And I think what that does is it pigeonholes us into this, like, white people in particular who typically have few Black friends, let alone Black women as friends, right? It allows them the space to say, right, you are either in this very polarized bucket or in this very polarized bucket. When it's just like, I'm so much more nuanced than that. Yeah. I don't know a single person, Black or otherwise, who knows as much about outdoors or space.
That's true. That's true. Outdoors.
Outdoor Afro.
Oh, outdoor.
You always say that. When you said outside, like you said Black outside or something like that. Yeah, Babz, Black outside. Let's all
Black
get
outside.
Let's all get Black outside.
Black outside. You know, it's like Black while being outside. Afros outside.
But no, I mean, for me, like, to that point, I don't see a representation of me anywhere, and I think that contributes to.
And you're a young woman, and that gives me a great deal of pause that even young sisters are not seeing themselves.
I mean, Issa Rae. Right?
Yes.
I think when we talk about Black creators who are creating authentic Black stories, yes, absolutely.
And even that, I think, is
it's a little
her sidekick friend
Molly
is very stereotypical.
She is problematic. She is problematic sometimes.
I mean, Markeisha Ricks got me watching this show because I really
shout out to Markeisha.
I don't like this show at all.
You don't like?
No, because I'm 55, so
okay, sure.
So this foolishness is just. I was like,
it
girl,
speaks
what?
to me. This is
like,
my
girl,
like.
Stop it. You know.
It's that simple. Stop.
But I watched the season 1 and I watched season 2. So I think I'm gonna go in for season 3.
Yeah, I'm definitely committed to season 3.
Because now I want to see what happened.
Yeah.
Now I want to see I want to see.
You want to see how these characters develop. Yeah. No, I think I see a lot of myself in Issa, and that is, I think, for me, such a privilege. Such a privilege, because to think that, okay, the other day, a young Black girl, a young Black woman who's a student at Yale, she and I get to talking because whenever you're on campus and you see another Black person,
you got to talk to them because you don't know when you'll see that again.
Exactly. And so we get to talking, and she goes, "Oh man, what's it like to be 30, sis? Not 30 yet. Not 30 yet. Appreciate you, but I'm not 30 yet." But what Insecure does for me is, like, it's a show about Black women figuring out, Black women who are in their late 20s and 30s just figuring out, like, have been in their careers for, you know, up at most 5, 6, 7 years and have just been out here working and still don't have it figured out.
Yeah.
And so when I was talking to her, I felt a little bit of Issa Rae like channeled, where I could be like, you know, I mean, it's gonna be hard. If you think I'm an adult, I can't say anything with more expertise than to tell you I am not an adult. So it's really good to have, I think, a little bit of me reflected back to me.
Yes.
On TV. And I think it's good for white people to see that too.
I think so too. I mean, I think white people watch the show. I hope. I don't really care, but I think they watch. Maybe get a little insight.
We should reach out to Nielsen and
say, hey,
who's maybe they keep track of that.
Well, you know what, Nielsen, they put out the Black Review every year.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, they do. They put out a Black Review of Black households and what, you know, everything from, you know, what we eat, what we watch,
who is
where we're shopping.
Tabs of this?
Well, you know,
what kind of data collection? Like, I just want to know what their setup is.
they you know, you could sign up to be a Nielsen family.
I know. I always want to be a Nielsen. This is the type of like
stuff you like.
7-year-old I was. Mom, can we be a part of this quantitative study?
Like, no, Black people are already under siege.
Right.
They're already watching us.
Or very much like, no, Black people don't participate in studies. We don't do that. Can't trust it.
And we have legitimate reasons for that.
For sure.
Like, it is not made up. We are not imagining. We have legitimate cause and pause for these kinds of things.
Absolutely. I mean, even when I see Black people who are against vaccinations, I still think that, you know, Black people should be, I think everyone should be vaccinated.
I do too. And
right?
don't bring your little kids around my kids if you ain't vaccinated.
Right.
See, that's the stand I would take in these public schools.
No,
like,
absolutely.
Your kid can't come here then.
Exactly. That's fine. You do what you gotta do.
You
keep them home.
But
my piece on that is I understand where that comes from when it comes to Black consumers.
I get it
right?
too.
Because how many times have Black communities been tested on #syphilis? How many times? Right? I mean, it really is just a matter of a distrust of exactly
all these things.
It is just a matter of
that is still going on under wraps and under covers and in prisons.
That distrust lingers today, right?
Yes.
And I think how damaging that distrust can be is when something as proven as vaccines comes around. Right, we have a justifiable concern, and then that means that we are again disproportionately impacted by that kind of thing.
Because you know what,
white people who are anti-vaxxers, I don't really get y'all. I don't really understand y'all.
I don't either.
I don't get it.
And you let your kid die. I don't get that either. I'm like, don't you love your child?
Right.
Because you're vaccinated, like your parents vaccinated you.
Yeah.
So, like this kid this little white boy who he got to 18 and he got himself back. He got all his vaccinations because
he couldn't go to school.
Because
he couldn't go to college, right?
Well, yeah, and his parents never. So once he turned 18, you know, they were crying and carrying on, and they were against it. He was like, "I'm 18. I'm doing this. I have a whole life I want to get to." And it was a big deal.
It really, I think, impacts people's. You know, the best argument that I've heard for why parents should vaccinate their children. In addition to all the scientific arguments, right, is you might decide that you don't want to vaccinate your child and you want to keep them at home because the school system won't let you. You might decide all that. That's fine. But when your kid grows up and wants to travel the world, they're going to be so set back by the decisions you've made.
Yeah.
And you're creating a situation where your child has to be insulated from the world in order to remain healthy, right? And I just think that is I don't know how we got on that.
I know,
but that's just an unfair disadvantage. And I think that again, we were talking about how the sort of distrust from the Black community has sort of led to a rise of Black anti-vaxxers, which is a word I don't really like, but
yes. All right, so tell people how they can reach out to y'all to get tickets tonight. Or are y'all sold out?
We're sold out. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
We've been sold out for a little bit.
Well, go watch it on HBO.
And we're also going to try to live stream it, but do not count on that because technology concerns might prevent that. So If you have tickets and you're planning on coming tonight, great. Can't wait to see you. If you have tickets and you cannot attend, because this is how we can kind of make sure that other people can be there. If you have tickets and you cannot attend tonight, please reach out to the Iota Chi Sigma chapter on Facebook. Iota Chi Sigma, IOTA Chi CHI Sigma SIGMA of chapter of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated on Facebook. Send us a message. Or go to the event. The event is called Say Her Name on Facebook. Send us a message with your name and email to tell us that you cannot make it so that we can release your ticket and let someone else register. There is limited space at this point. We are completely sold out. And, for the people who have reached out and are still saying, if anyone can't make it, please let me know immediately. We are going to do our best to let y'all know in advance that if we can get you into the room. I believe there are still a couple tickets available for the reception. So that's an option for people if people want to come. And
where's the reception?
The reception, it's there in the same space. After the panel discussion and the documentary, we're just going to head out into the veranda space and
people saying hi to us.
Oh, hey,
Tamiko. Hey, Dr. MacArthur. Hey, Ratasha.
Sorry. Hey, Ratasha. So I think. Again, if you can make it, can't wait to see you tonight. If you can't, please let us know immediately so that the others who have reached out who want to make it can.
This was a wonderful conversation.
Yeah.
You should come back and talk about anything you want.
I mean, I usually like having conversations with you. Me and you like do a nice little riff. I remember being on the Amistad.
That was a wonderful day.
It was such a good
I just looked at those pictures the other day.
Did you?
It was a wonderful day.
We should give them a context what we're talking about.
Yes, we were on the La Amistad for Afro Outdoor.
We went black outside with we did a wonderful like sailing excursion with the Amistad. There were with Outdoor Afro, there were maybe 40 or 50 of us on the Amistad with wine and cheese and snacks and cookies. I think it was you who were at the end of the event. We've already embarked and we're going around the sound. We did our little thing and then we're on the way back and we had a circle. And it was a group of mostly Black women, but for the most part, everyone there, with the exception of a couple people, were people of color. And we had a circle to talk about, how impactful it was with everyone. And I'm pretty sure after that circle, you came up to me and was like, I wish the ancestors could see us now.
Yes.
On the Amistad.
Yes. They
were with us.
Drinking
wine and cookies.
Drinking wine. Because that was a slave ship.
It was a slave ship.
So we was on a very different journey.
Right.
Like we were raising our glasses and having a good time.
Exactly.
Being bougie.
We were so bougie that day. Oh, we were bougie.
Listen, I love nothing better than bougie Black people. I do. I think we've earned that right.
We absolutely have. Women especially.
Yes.
Be as bougie as you can.
I love it. I love
Reclaim
love
your bougie.
I'm doing it. So
no, but I always enjoy having conversation with you. We riff really well.
You have to come back.
Yeah, I'm
Pick
happy
a time
to.
and come back.
I'm happy to.
Any topic you want, Mercy. Because I enjoy talking to you.
You want to talk about space sometime?
Space?
Did I? Or is that one topic we're not going to talk about?
Like we're going outer space?
Outer space. You want to talk about outer space?
Girl, I love outer space.
Do you?
I wanted to be an astronaut.
Really?
That's how much I love space films. I love talking about the stars.
How much time we got?
And the constant. We don't have any time.
Got any time.
Harry about
no,
to
I know. Shut off the whole thing.
I love talking about the stars, the constellation, the galaxies. I love all. I have a telescope.
I may very well go and get another degree in astrophysics, but
me too.
Yeah, I mean,
I take courses on MIT online.
Really?
The open courses.
So
I took the astrophysicist class. I took physics.
See, that's my problem. I don't know anything about physics. I know things about physics from conversations with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Not personal conversations. The ones I watch him have with other people. But
I love that stuff.
I love astrophysics.
Me too. I love it.
To be Black women who are nuanced in all these ways.
I applied for the civilian astronauts program. They disbanded it after the teacher after the Challenger crash. It blew up. But I had put in my application and I was waiting to hear back about coming to talk to them about this.
Wow.
And then they disbanded it. They didn't want any more non-astronauts going
I can make
in space.
That makes sense. Well, if Elon Musk gets us to Mars in 2033, I just want to be a science communicator. Just let me get as close to the action as possible, right? Like, if I could write about it, I'm good.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Like I will hold a conversation with anybody about that. So
I'll come back and we can talk about that. But again, looking forward to seeing y'all tonight to celebrate Women's History Month in a very different way than I think people typically celebrate it.
Say her
name, Sandra Bland. And to welcome her sister here with us tonight to have this really impactful conversation as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, Harry, I'm playing this out.